The Shadow of the Father.Jan Dobraczynski.Part 1. The Wife. Chapter 13. It was early dawn when she went outside at the front of the house. The mountains of Judea stretched out before her, as if billowed and congealed sea. They were pink violets in the morning mist. She inhaled the cool, dry air deeply. Galilee and Nazareth were beautiful and more colorful, but her homeland was here. The rocky and naked soil where she had grown up. She loved these mountains, although they evoked a strange fear in her. She heard the steps behind her. The householder's wife also came out. She stretched out her arms and whole body. Now Miriam was able to see that the woman was still quite young. Her body was intact, and only worries had marked her face with lines. Her youth must have conflicted with misfortune, but now, in the mountains and the morning's view, everything seemed bursting with life. An expression of joy ignited briefly at her face, but it disappeared soon. An expression of sadness and painful expectation returned. Lazarus cried less than usual last night, she said. So possibly you were able to have a good rest. I also slept deeply. I have not slept so well for a long time. I should not have slept so. You should sleep to gain your strength. She moved her hand reluctantly and swallowed the saliva heavily. Her heart was searching for hope, but her memory was already extracting the pain, as if a day that extracts the shapes sunk in dimness. What for do I need the strength? The priest is supposed to come tomorrow. He will bring some people with him who will take my baby away. Yet, how happy we could be. The words blurred out of the woman. Try another medicine one more time. I know that when onion slices are placed on the skin, it happens the healing comes. We have already tried so many things, she sighed. But try that one too, and pray to the highest. We have made so many offerings. Pray one more time. They were standing opposite each other in the prospect of the mountains as the sun was wiping the mist away. What will you do? The woman asked. Will you continue your journey by yourself, or will you wait for Simeon? I do not know if he can manage to walk. He will not go today or tomorrow. He is very exhausted, and he is sleeping now. Do not wait for him. Surely you have your own matters of which you need to take care. We will take care of him, and later the men will take him to town. If that is the case, then I suppose I will go. Go. You must be in a hurry to meet someone who is close to you, perhaps. Yes, you are right. I would like to go get there where I am going as soon as possible. You may go in peace. You have done a good deed, and the highest will reward you. She shook her head lightly. She felt she wanted to say that he has given her so much, and more cannot be received. Yet she would not be able to tell that to anyone. And especially to that woman in whom the pain was hiding after every moment of forgetfulness. What is your village called? Yet she asked. Bethany. Do not forget to visit us if you ever pass it by. I will not. May peace be with you. And with you too, girl. She entered the town through the gate at the foot of the temple. The precipitous rock changed into the high and vertical wall. One could get dizzy when looking at it to the top. Before entering through the gate, she had to go down into the Cedron ravine along a path that led to a hill slope overgrown with olive trees. A stony path passed between the thick as though swollen tree trunks. All the time as she walked down the path, she had the fronton of the temple reflecting in the sun in front of her. Its walls rose high over the portico above the precipice. The morning ceremonies must have been finished because from the scaffolding surrounding the walls, the clattering of hammers and axes were heard. The building was nearing completion. People used to say that Heros was delighted and proud he had created an extraordinary temple. He spared no money in building it. He called for workers from all over the country and ordered to pay them well. The gates covered with gold and silver sheets glowed in the sun. Its gleam seemed to flow down over the golden spikes that protected the roof from the birds. She stopped, walking in a certain moment. She noticed something that was not there where she lived here before, moving to Nazareth, and often she looked at the temple. On its fronton over the bronze Nicanor gate were a bunch of gold grape vines. Used to hang a golden bird, was now spreading its wings. She heard about that from the pilgrims returning from Jerusalem who spoke with disgust about the king's blasphemy of having ordered the Roman eagle to be hung over the gates. The eagle had profaned the temple. She looked at the eagle and lowered her head instinctively. Being raised as the priest's home, she knew the law forbade showing any image of a living creature. If the law required so, she thought, then it must have been the highest wish. When somebody opposed his will, it aroused a horror. He did not want to be mixed with ordinary living things that were created. In that case, who will be the one, it appeared to her, who will be miraculously conceived? Will he be born as an ordinary human being? Will he be a child living among the children and the animals? Or will he be a secret creature withdrawn from everything that is alive? Who will he be? Since he is supposed to be my son, then most likely he will be a human being. She moved on quickly and ran downhill to escape from these thoughts. She did not want them. She wanted to submit herself totally to the highest will. A stream oozed over the ravine floor. It was almost dried out. One could easily cross it anywhere without a foot getting wet. The temple could not be seen from the bottom of the ravine. Then she passed the gate. She walked by the palace, standing on the awful slope, and she submerged into the hot European hollow. Walking through the upper town, she had the walls of Herod's palace in front of her, where the towers rose high up, that were named after Fazail, the killed king's brother, and after Mariamma, the murdered wife of Herod. She did not stop at the city walls at all. She went through Jerusalem and left it at the gate next to the snake's pond. The mountains were in front of her again. Those mountains she was now looking at were well known to her. She used to look at them so many times in her life. She walked faster with every step. She entered the rocky combe, where a road at the top led towards Hebron, but soon after she turned into a green gully. Her heart started pumping and pumped strong. Her legs were going faster. Here she recognized every tree. The day started turning towards sunset, but still it was early, and the sun still kept its heat. Long streaks of shadows were lying at the feet of the one in a hurry. She was almost running now, and she was out of breath from time to time. Finally, among the greenery loomed the white little house that was once her house for many years. She ran up at the wicket gate and pushed it so hard that it hit the wall. She was running down the path among the garden patches. Suddenly, she heard a voice that called Miriam. She recognized who had called for her. She ran that direction and she saw Elizabeth. The old woman hurried too, although her deformed body hindered her from doing so. She also must have been waiting impatiently for this moment. They were almost right in front of each other with their arms spread wide, and Miriam was about to hug her caregiver. But then the old woman stopped suddenly. She bowed awkwardly, and she almost squatted in a humble greeting. Miriam, being surprised, stopped as well. It seemed to her that her aunt had not recognized her and she had seen someone else. "Elizabeth," she said, "it is me." A great happiness is greeting me because my Lord's mother has come to my house, the woman said while still crouching. Her hands wanted to embrace Miriam's leg, but she set Elizabeth to her feet and clasps her to her bosom. "What are you saying?" she asked with a trembling, emotional voice. "You are the happiest woman of all women because you have believed." She felt breathless. Yes, that assurance was clear and stunning. She had not been hallucinating. She had not dreamt what had happened. She pressed her hands to her chest that was expanding with joy. She has existed already, in reality. It has happened what the ages have been waiting for, and it was she to whom this happiness has been given. "So you know everything?" she asked with a warm whisper. "I do," Elizabeth said, "and if I doubted, I have received the confirmation because when I was walking towards to greet you, the baby moved in me for the first time. It has given a sign that it was alive, that its life was not an illusion. Oh, now I am not afraid of anything. He will be born and he will become whom he has been told to be, my John. He will walk in front of him. Oh, Miriam, magnificent and wonderful things have happened." Elizabeth's words were inflaming her happiness even more. It was like a fire that seized a bush and was consuming it with crackles and with outpouring of sparks. She was not able to hold that joy in herself. She was not used to talk much, but now she had the feeling of screaming and announcing her happiness to the entire world. She closed her eyes and pressed her hands to her chest. Now she was not able to hold any longer for herself. What had been foaming in her heart? She had to speak up to sign. "Be praised, my Lord and Savior. How should I express my happiness that you have noticed your servant in spite of her littleness? You have caused that all the people, all the nation, and in all places will always call me the Blessed One because of you. You are so good, Lord, so merciful, and you always have been such for centuries. You have come down to the humble ones and have reprimanded the bumptious one. You have supported the poor ones, and you have shown the fake shine of wealth to the rich ones. As such you had been, and as such you have been. And whatever you had announced, you fulfill all. The day was on the wane, roasting the trees' tops with scarlet. But for the two women hugging each other, a day of happiness and the fulfillment of their dreams was dawning. The Shadow of the Father.Jan Dobraczynski.Part 1. The Wife. Chapter 14. It was already the middle of the month of Kislev. A cool, dry wind was drinking up the last remains after autumn rains. Miriam has not been back yet. After arriving at her aunt's, she sent a message to her brother-in-law saying that she had arrived safely and that she must stay near. Elizabeth to assist her when the baby comes. The improbable news had been confirmed. Zachariah's wife was expecting a baby indeed. However, there was nothing but silence after that news. Months had been passing and either Miriam had not come or any messages from her. Joseph was still working a lot, and that work shortened for him the time of the long waiting. The orders were turning up one after another. The fame of a handy carpenter who is able to make anything was spreading around. One day a man wearing expensive clothes, a chain around his neck, and purple leather sandals came to Joseph's workshop. He arrived on a donkey and two servants accompanied him. One of them was holding a green umbrella above the rider. Joseph felt some anxiety upon recognizing that this was the king's official, but when he began to talk, Joseph's concerns faded at once. It turned out that even the palace in Sebaste had heard of the talented artisan. The official was sent to find out whether the carpenter of Nazareth could make an unusual order, a sedan chair in which the kings could be carried. What I am about to say, the official said to Joseph as he spread out himself on the bench, must stay with you. Remember, he shook his finger at him, you must not tell this to anyone. You could get yourself into trouble if you make this matter public. However, I hope you are a wise man. So listen. The king has been tormented by his illness. When he walks, the pain are all over him and he needs to be carried. In order to avoid the pains, he must sit comfortably. You must put all your talent into this. If you make it well, you will be paid lavishly, and you will gain fame for working for the king. Maybe you will receive further orders. But one more time I am reminding you, tell no word of the king's illness, neither to mother, wife, nor a child. Nobody. If they tell me that you have been telling people around, I will come with my soldiers, who will take care of you. Remember." He raised his finger one more time. Joseph nodded. The official's secrecy surprised him a bit because the entire country had been talking about the king's illness. The official threw a gold coin at him as an advance payment, and after being helped onto the donkey by his servant, he left. Joseph started to work immediately. The order was supposed to be done quickly, and the official said he would come back in 4 days' time. With a cynical look on his face, he returned on the 4th day indeed, with the expectation that the order was not completed. But the work was done, and waiting to be collected. He could not hide his satisfaction while looking at the chair. He asked how much Joseph wanted for his work, but when he heard the price, an expression of disbelief appeared on his rat-thin face. He asked him to repeat the price and then guffawed. This put him into an excellent mood. He slapped Joseph back and called in the servants. One of them was ordered to pack the seed carefully and load it in onto a donkey of burden, and the other one was ordered to get the bag of wine from the load. "Sit down," he pointed to Joseph, and then to a space on the bench beside him. "I can see you are handy and wise. You have taken my fancy. I will drink with you for the work well done. You have never drunk such a wine in your life. It is a real wine from the king's stable." The servant poured the wine into the cups. Joseph brought a jug of water to be added to the wine, but the official pushed it back contemptuously. "Have you gone mad? Water to such a wine? You are a lot. But I like you in spite of that. What is your name?" "Joseph, son of Jacob." "I will remember you, Joseph. They say only thieves and cheats live in Nazareth. But you are an honest one, as I see. I will do you a favor and tell about you at the courts. You will not be lacking in orders, but then do not forget to whom you will be in debt. My name is Castobar, and I am one of the servants of the great Boargas, who is responsible for the king's safety." Joseph asked his guest nothing, but as Castobar's mood increased under the wine influence, he started talking about what had been happening at the king's court. "The worst, my dear, is the old wives' tales," he was saying. "Heaps of hags, all of them, and they are quarreling with one another. Salome and her daughters are at loggerheads with Roxana, her mother, and with her sister, and behind them all the maids of honor are ready to scratch out their eyes. They set the king and his brother at variance. He irritates quickly and he is filled with anger, possibly because of the painful attacks. Remember Do not talk about it. Often he is in such pain that he screams like a mad one. He looks at the woman less and less. I think, though, he would like to play with his brother's wife. But she resists him. Cunning woman. She has her own plans. Do not speak about it. But she meets and talks with the leaders of the Pharisees. They promise her many things. It has been rumored that they can do miracles. My master asked Roxana to help him to have connection with women. His desire is to have a son. I do not know if those Pharisees of yours could do such a miracle. What do you think? I do not think so. Though they promise, you know nothing. You are a peasant, although you can make beautiful things. Do not you ever try to speak about this thing. Remember, this king's desire for a woman has ceased. He prefers boys. It is disgusting. Castobar burst into laughter. See what a simpleton you are. Such are the king's customs, and the boys get high price. The king has one in particular, a pretty boy, and not stupid. I am well with him, and I bring him all sorts of presents. Now I have brought bracelets for him. They cost a lot, but it is profitable. Anyway, when you give something with one hand, the other one often receives something. He was talking more and more about disgusting things. Joseph was trying not to listen to him. People talked a lot willingly about disgusting customs that were happening at the courts. These roused indignation of some of them, but they liked to listen to such stories too. Joseph hated listening to them. Listening evoked the imagination. The stories would often be unwillingly remembered and would be brought forth in moments of weakness. And he knew those moments would come again. Agreeing to Miriam's request, he had no doubts that even the greatest love would not substitute a need for vigilance. The sacrifice that he has done cannot be done only once. It has to be repeated constantly. Castobar was waging and waging. He sipped the wine incessantly, and finally he became very drunk. You must keep your mouth shut, understood? He repeated. I'm telling you these things because I like you, but it is only for you. If you babble these out, it is finished. I would have to tell my master, and he... Do you understand? You are peasant, but I like you. You make beautiful goods. Do not stick your nose into high society, people. I am telling you. Finally, he mixed up everything. The servants placed him on the donkey, and carefully holding him from both sides, they took him down the hill. A few Sabbaths have passed. One day, while absorbed with work that required his careful attention, he heard a well-known voice behind him. Being surprised, he put the throwing knife away that he was smoothing wood with, and he turned his back. He saw Seba, the youngest of his brothers. His face was distorted, and his hair uncut and dirty was falling over his forehead. He was wearing an old bag, torn off, and he did not approach Joseph, and from a distance he bowed low, uttering and crying. Immediately he understood what had happened. He is dead. Seba was sobbing. He is dead. He has gone to the land of dead people. I have come to tell you about it. The custom required one to throw him to the ground, to tear off his robe, and to sprinkle ash on his head. But he only lowered his head. He could not lament like hired weepers. He loved his father so much, and on that day when he was leaving Bethlehem, he was convinced he would not see him again. Jacob's vital energy had gone long time ago. In the early days, everything in the village ran according to his wish. He was not a despot, but he was a man of strength, and everybody used to seek his advice and help. Then everything changed. A weakness came upon him. The younger brothers did not remember him the way Joseph did. The family's life streamed because distant from the sick patriarch lying in his bed. Jacob had been lying in bed alone all days long, and he had become irritable and often angry. Many things made him impatient. The younger sons did not bother with that though. They used to come to their father, talk a lot and loudly, speak of many things and laugh without paying attention whether he liked them or not. It was a bit different with Joseph. Father did not talk at all. A stubborn and tiring silence was between them. Joseph once was convinced that their father felt regret towards him for postponing his marriage. But on that subject he had already said everything. When he started to speak about other matters, he had to break off when seeing Jacob's glazed look. He could not amuse his father with gossips as his brothers did. Those long moments of silence made Joseph feel as if guilt towards his father. When he came back from Zechariah's, he told his father what the old priest had told him. He did not mention Elizabeth's idea about him going to Nazareth, though. He did not want to tie himself with any promises prematurely. They far dwelt in silence, and only a noose of shrunken hands tightened on Joseph's neck. While resting for a moment on Jacob's chest, Father whispered, "May the highest lead and protect you. May he bring you safely back to the Father's land. May. He did not hear further blessings. He left with a feeling he would never be able to repay his father for all that he had received from him. He often used to think of him here in Nazareth. He was able to see him more clearly from a distance. Tardily he regretted every moment of sitting at his father's bed that has passed in silence, and could not bring them closer to each other. The father had been waiting. Not once Joseph used to pray and ask the highest to forgive him for his incompetence and to repay Jacob with his grace. Maybe, he was thinking, this is why we cannot comprehend the highest, because we cannot comprehend our fathers. He embraced his brother, and for a while they were hugging each other as a family in the moment of great sadness. Seba was crying. Laughter and tears always came easily to him. He already had a wife and children. He worked in the fields. He liked to play as well as joyful conversation with his friends, and everybody liked him. He showed Seba into the house and took a cordial care of him. After telling the news, Seba was allowed to shave, to cut and oil his hair, and to change the mourning bag for ordinary clothes. While having a meal, the younger brother told Joseph about their father's death. Jacob died peacefully after catching a cold during a cool period. He spoke a lot about Joseph before he died. He had been asking for him. He was very glad when he had been told that Joseph finally found a girl he desired to marry. He was dreaming about his descendants and about the oldest son's return to the family land. He reminded to his sons that old David's land had to be Joseph's property regardless of when he comes back to the Bethlehem. Then let him build a house for himself on this land. He often repeated this. Joseph listened to Seba's story with emotion. So all this year of silence did not dampen his father's feelings. Could they be dampened? A father, he was thinking, is the one who does not stop waiting. Upon finishing the news, Seba reached under his jacket and pulled out a small item carefully wrapped with thin leather. He unrolled it, and then Joseph saw the ring. A thick, formless piece of gold that once could have been of some value, but today it lost all comprehensible shapes. He remembered that ring on his father's thin fingers. According to the tradition of the family, it originated from David, and it was always given to the family eldest child. Our father ordered me to give it to you, Seba said. Then you must give it to your firstborn, father said. I regret that I will not be able to embrace his son's head, because he will have a son for sure. He reached for the ring without a word. The finger hole was small, and the finger hardly entered the ring. He slipped it back and held it in his hand, and then gave it to the firstborn. He was thinking, I will never have that firstborn. He loved Miriam so much that even when she told him of her unusual decision, he had accepted it without hesitation. It was a simple love instinct at first. Only now, when Miriam was far away, he started wondering about the reasons that made the girl take such an unusual oath. What Zechariah believed to be his disgrace, she desired to take upon herself voluntarily. She wanted to treat her renouncement as a gift. She was bold as always, until impudence. She roused him with that boldness so much that he desired all to be shared equally between them. Now, looking at the ring that he received, he was thinking that the decision he had made was not only the renouncement of his own rejoicing, it happened to be also a disappointment to his family. The main family branch will wither. Encouraging him was the fact that his family has spread well enough, and among its representatives, someone could always be found whose son would become the Messiah, but somehow his decision could seem like cutting the umbilical cord that connects the past with the present day. Maybe it is better than Jacob's dad, who could not comprehend Joseph waiting. Would he have ever been able to comprehend Miriam's sacrifice and Joseph's agreement to this sacrifice? Later, he was talking with Seba about what had been happening in Bethlehem. The brother was talking about every family member in that right order, and he mentioned first the babies born recently. When I was about to come to you, he was saying, we gathered as brothers and decided that we did not want you to come back to Bethlehem. The time is still uncertain and bad. They say Herod is planning some new crimes, but they have not been looking for me, have they? Some strangers were wandering around in the village. They might have been the king's spies. It has been quiet here in Galilee though. You would better stay here until something changes. Stay here and do not leave. We will let you know when it gets quiet. You probably are not doing too badly, are you? I cannot complain. I have a lot of work. When will you bring your wife to your house? Miriam has been staying at her aunt's now. When she comes back, at the customary year passes, I will bring her into my house. We all are glad you have settled in your home. It was too much of that waiting. Having the house will be much easier for you to settle around here, and some of us will always come to visit you. I will see every one of you with joy. Do not worry about your land. We will keep it for you. He nodded without a word. The small strip of land behind the village where, as the old tradition says, David was pasturing the sheep when Samuel visited him to apply the holy oil upon him, could wait peacefully for his comeback. Joseph missed Bethlehem while father was alive. Now the silence was here. He loved that silence so much, and it was here where his love blossomed. He had no desire to go back. The Shadow of the Father.Jan Dobraczynski, chapter 15. Sabah had left, and the days were passing by again. No news had arrived from Miriam yet. Before the upcoming Sabbath, Joseph had been informed that the superior of the synagogue had made him in charge of the reading for that day. It was a great privilege because he still was regarded as the new resident of the city. He prepared for that reading scrupulously. Living for the synagogue and already wearing the talit, he spoke out his prayer with zeal that should be said before leaving for the house of prayer. How beautiful your tents are, Jacob, how delightful your dwellings are, Israel. Then he stopped at the synagogue door to pray. I raise my hand towards your sanctuary, O everlasting. I am begging you, and I will be heard by you. He waited for the superior to call upon him with emotions. He cringed when that other one opened the holy cabinet, Aaron Hakadesh, and took out the roll of the prophet's writings and slipped off the embroidered cover. He heard his name called. He stood up and entered the dais. The superior handed the roll to him, and then everybody in the synagogue rose. He looked over the twisting parchment at the faces of the people before he started reading. The men were in front of him, the rich merchants at first and the poor farmers further. He knew almost all of them. The balcony could be seen deeper in the hall, with the woman standing there. Suddenly he experienced a shock. Among the faces of the woman crowded together at the balcony, it seemed to him that he saw the face of the one he had been thinking about constantly. Is that possible? He had no time to look carefully over there because the reading had to be started. He tried to do the reading in vain. The letters were dancing before his eyes. The superior rushed to help and handed him the wooden handle. It helped him to concentrate better by moving it over the columns of letters. He overcame his anxiety with all his willpower. He said within him, "Is it impossible? It is a false vision. If she would have come back, I would have known that." the text of Isaiah prophecy finally became clear. He started reading. And again the highest spoke to Ahaz, "Ask for a sign, and it will be given to you from the depth of from the heaven." But Ahaz said, "Neither I will ask, nor will I tempt the Lord." And he said, "Hear you now, O house of David. It is a small thing for you to worry. Man, but will you worry my God as well? Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse evil and to choose goodness. Days that have not come from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria." He lowered the roll and looked at the balcony with discomfort, but he could not see the one he has imagined before. He concentrated again. He was supposed to say a few words about the passage that was read, as the custom required. With a suppressed voice he said what he had prepared, and namely that the prophet's word foreshadow the birth of Ezekias, the king who, against his own father, commenced moral revival and returned to the real faith. When he finished, he gave the roll back to the superior and left the dice. After the last prayer and blessing, the people started leaving the synagogue in crowds. The president stopped Joseph to congratulate him the reading of the prophecy nicely and for wise teaching. He was not able to look at the people leaving. He was returning home alone. On the narrow path, he passed by a group of women returning from the house of prayer. They were the wives of the modest artisans who lived in the upper town. Their faces were familiar, so when passing them by he said, "Peace be with you." They replied as a chorus, "Peace be with you." Then one of them called, "Surely you have already seen your fiancé." All of them began to giggle at the same time, but that giggle sounded strange and very much unpleasant in Joseph's ears.